so you can never see it clearly enough. And of course, most people who go through this experience come to the conclusion, well, I'm just not very good at visualizing. But that's not true. Maybe visualizing is really something that our brain is not designed to do to the extent that we think it should. Hi, I'm Liam Naden, and welcome to my podcast, Let Yourself Off the Hook. As someone who has studied success for decades, I have found the formula for achieving your dreams and goals, and it's all to do with how you use your brain. Each week on my show, I will provide you with the tools, resources, and expertise to utilize your brain to its ultimate potential and remove the barriers to your success. And as you will discover, true success in every area of your life only comes when you let yourself off the hook. You've probably heard something about the law of attraction, this idea that you can manifest a goal or get what you want through your thoughts and attracting the right energy to you. It was made very popular a few years ago through a film called The Secret. But it's not a new idea. In fact, many books before that talked about the law of attraction and this using our thoughts and our mind to get what we want. And of course, many people today are still teaching and using this idea as the key to success. But does it really work? Is it really that effective? Well, that's what we're going to look at in this episode and really talk about the truth behind the results people are getting when they're applying this thing called the law of attraction. Now, if you haven't heard of the law of attraction before, or if you're not overly familiar with it, here's a brief explanation of what the law of attraction says. So the theory goes like this. Everything in the universe, everything that we see and experience, is simply in its essence a form of energy. Now that's all good so far. Every quantum physicist and scientist will tell you that yes, in its essence, everything is energy. And the different forms of energy, the things that we see as being different in our world, they're due to the fact that different forms of energy vibrate at different frequencies. And as the theory goes, things that are of a similar frequency are attracted to each other. So the law of attraction says that if you want to have something in your life, all you need to do is be on the same frequency as that. And how you do that is by focusing on it very, very strongly and combining that with positive emotions and belief. So that if you think enough about the thing that you want, the exact thing that you want, if you focus on it, if you visualize it, if you see yourself having it, and that you believe that you can and will have it, then it's going to be attracted to you on an energy level and it's going to show up in your life. It will literally turn into your physical reality. Now, this is such a seductive idea, isn't it? I mean, it makes so much sense. It sounds brilliant. It sounds wonderful. And you think, wow, simply with my mind, I can achieve anything. And of course, there are countless seminars, courses, books, people telling you that this is the way to get what you want, that you can have anything you truly want. And I'm sure that if you've studied anything at all or heard anything at all about success, you've heard about the power of your mind, that you can achieve anything, you can do it. Now, as I say, this not only sounds perfectly logical, it sounds great. What a wonderful idea. Use the power of your mind to get anything you want in your life. But the truth is that the results for most people are very different from the promises. It's just not working for most people. And it's probably, if you're really honest, it's probably not working for you either. Now, I once heard someone say, why are most people doing what they're doing? Well, they're doing it because everyone else is doing it. Isn't that so true? Why are most people doing what they're doing? They're doing it because everyone else is doing it. So everyone else is out there working hard, gathering more information, trying to stay positive, setting goals. But what's the reality? The years go by, their lives go by. Look at most of the people around you. Their life is still a mess. Or they're certainly not happy, and they're certainly not living to their potential, and they're certainly not achieving everything they really want to make them truly happy. They've still got problems and stress. And what happens? They still keep doing the same things. They try harder, thinking that the reason things aren't working for them in their life are their fault. They're not doing it right. They're not trying hard enough. And they think, well, lots of other people are getting really good results using these ideas and working hard and setting goals and gathering more information. But the truth is, they're not. But it doesn't stop us, does it, thinking, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm not trying hard enough. I need some more information. I need to try a different technique. Or I'm thinking the wrong thoughts. And what does that do? That just keeps you stuck and feeling even worse. And I think nothing's more true about doing the same thing over and over again and not getting good results, but still continuing to try and do the same thing even harder. Nothing is more true than the whole area of success tools such as goal setting and this thing called the law of attraction. But let's get really honest here. Let's really think about this. If you've tried, or if you're trying to create something, to get a result in your life, if you're trying to do that using your thoughts, you'll have to admit that no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try and think the right way, no matter how much effort you put in, no matter how many ideas you get on better ways to do this, using your thoughts to try and create your reality, it doesn't really work, does it? Now, of course, it's true that thinking positive thoughts, thinking good thoughts, and certainly taking lots of action, that does have an important role to play in success, in getting results in your life. I'm not saying you don't think positive and you don't do anything. Quite the opposite. But when it comes to specifics, when it comes to saying, I want this exact amount of money, or I want this exact relationship with this person to be really happy and good, or I want this business deal to go through, or I want this business to work out, or I want to get this job, this specific job. Well, when it comes to specific things like that, you'd have to be honest and say that trying to use your thoughts to create that is a bit hit and miss. Doesn't always work. In fact, it doesn't usually work. Isn't that true? And it's not just hit and miss for you, it's hit and miss for everyone else as well, despite what the books, the seminars and people are saying. And if you've, like me, have ever been to any of those success seminars or read any books or done any courses, you'll notice, again, if we're being really honest, that for most of the people who are doing these same things, trying to attract what they want using these techniques, that they're not having much luck either. Now, I'm just being honest here. This is the simple truth. You know, for a long time in my life, I tried to avoid the truth. I tried to avoid being honest because I didn't like the idea of what the consequences of being honest might mean. And also I thought, well, all of these experts are saying this. They must be right. It must be true what they're saying. There must be something that they know, that they can see, that I can't. Even though deep in myself, if I'm really honest, I would question what they're saying. So the first step to making real progress with your life and everything is to be honest and say, where am I right now and what is working and what isn't working? And the truth is that trying to create something in your life, trying to manifest something or attract what you think you want, whether it's through the law of attraction or some other technique or method, doesn't work. And it's never going to work, apart from in some very rare and particular situations, which we'll talk about as well. So in this episode, I'm going to talk about some of the myths surrounding this whole law of attraction idea and the real reasons why it doesn't and why it cannot work, no matter how hard you try or how many people try to convince you that it will. But I'm also going to share with you something you can do instead, something that's a lot simpler, that really will help you manifest your reality in the way that you really want. And the good news is, it is a lot simpler. It requires a lot less effort, and it gets you far better results. And that's all because it's natural, and it uses the greatest and most natural power that you have, which is your brain. So there are some fundamental flaws about the whole approach of trying to use your thoughts to manifest your results. Now, I know I'm going against the teachings of many of the gurus out there, and I'm probably going to get some messages from people telling me I don't know what I'm talking about, or that I've made a mistake, or I don't really understand what the law of attraction is all about. But I actually do feel qualified to talk about this because I've learned from some of the world's leading law of attraction experts. In fact, I've even studied personally with some of the big names who were featured in that film that I mentioned earlier, The Secret. And I've done everything they've told me to do. And I mean really done it. I practiced visualization techniques. I repeated positive statements, which are also called affirmations. I listened to subliminal and hypnosis recordings. I wrote out my goals in great detail. I had pictures everywhere of exactly what I wanted to do. I even did physical techniques and different movements and actions that were supposed to help. And I did all of this stuff not for days, not for weeks, not even for months, but for years. I remember one time watching a well-known speaker, on a videotape, and he said, sit and watch the tape that you're watching every day for a month. Every day for a month. And I did that. I watched that tape, and I think it was about 30 minutes long. I watched that every day for a month. Didn't miss a beat. Didn't miss a day. I also went to a seminar, a course, read a book which said, actually several books, all said the same thing, which was basically write down what you want on a card. Get really specific about what you want, write it down in the present tense as if you already have it, and read it as often as you can throughout the day. So I carried this card around with me for years, and I read it dozens of times a day, as often as I could. I just got in this habit over and over of pulling out my card and reading. This is my goal. This is what I am going to have. Another time I went to a seminar and they handed out this subliminal recording and said, listen to this every day. I didn't listen to it just once a day. I listened to it 2 or 3 times a day. It was a visualization, changing your beliefs type recording. Now, it literally got to the point for me where this almost became an obsession. How can I use this law of attraction? How can I change my beliefs, my thoughts, become and attract to me what I want? I was literally spending 2 to 3 hours a day doing this sort of stuff. And I was also going to seminars, reading books, taking courses, everything I could. This was my top priority. This was my focus in my life, was to figure out how to learn how to attract to me what I really wanted. And this went on for years. And all the time I was thinking, if I can only do this a little bit harder, if I can only do it a little bit longer, a bit better, it's going to work. It's going to get rid of my problems. It's going to get rid of my stress. It's going to help me create an amazing life, being really happy doing everything I really want to do. But of course it never did. And in fact, I got to the point, as you might know, where I lost everything, went in the opposite direction in my life to where I thought I was going, and where all these pictures and dreams and ideas I thought were taking me, I ended up going in the opposite direction, losing everything. And in fact, throughout that time when I was busy trying to do all this stuff, if I look back and was really honest, I realized that yes, there was actually something that was giving me the results I was getting in my life, both good and bad, both expected and unexpected. And most of the time it was unexpected. But really, it wasn't anything much to do with what I was thinking and visualizing and really working on. And as I said before, as I went through that period of my life, if I'm really honest, I also realized that it wasn't working for many other people, if anyone else that I knew either. But of course, by becoming homeless, that really has sent me off on a different journey to try and figure out how things really work. And it's a journey that's given me a lot more fulfillment and success. And of course is really the reason why I'm talking to you right here, right now. Okay, so now that we're agreed that we'll be really honest as to why the law of attraction doesn't work, let's get down to looking at why that is. Also, we'll look at maybe what's good about the law of attraction, because there are some ideas in it which are good, which are valid, which will help you. But we're also going to talk about what you could do instead, what you should do instead, if you really want to see meaningful results in your life, rather than continuing to do what I did, which was kid myself that all this effort and work was somehow going to pay off. So we want to find what's really going to give you some meaningful results in your life. Really eliminate the problems and the stress so that you live your biological life purpose, being the best that you can be and expressing your true inner greatness, which is what you're here for. Okay, so firstly, let's recall that the law of attraction says that you can have anything you want if you focus on it clearly. But here's the first problem with that. You don't know what you really want. Or more importantly, you don't know what is best for you. You don't know what is really going to make you happy and live your best life. You simply don't know that. Now, you might think you do, but what you think only comes from a very limited perspective. So you might think you need that job, or you want that job, or you need that relationship or want that relationship. But you don't know. You don't know, firstly, that that job or relationship is really going to make you happy. And you don't know if there isn't a better one that you haven't thought of. You're only relying on your thoughts to try and figure out what it is you really want, and your thoughts are limited. And the next issue or the next problem with the law of attraction is that you must see it clearly. But being really honest, how easy is it to see anything about your life, certainly about something you don't have in it that you want? How easy is it to really see it clearly? I used to try visualization techniques and methods, and ultimately I came to the conclusion that it's virtually impossible to see anything very clearly, certainly something about the future. You literally can't see something in exact detail, every aspect of something. You can't do that with your mind because, again, your mind, your visualizing mind, your thinking mind is limited. You can't see all of the permutations and the details of anything. So you can never see it clearly enough. And of course, most people who go through this experience come to the conclusion, well, I'm just not very good at visualizing. But that's not true. Maybe visualizing is really something that our brain is not designed to do to the extent that we think it should. So you don't know what you want, really. You can't see it clearly enough. And the third thing is, you can't believe it enough. Now remember, one of the keys with the law of attraction is that you put belief and positive thinking into what you want. That's part of being on the same frequency, creating the same energy to attract the thing that you want. And there have been all sorts of methods and techniques and ideas to try and help people to believe. But I've tried so many of these things and they didn't really work. And here's why. One of my teachers, or somebody I learned from, who was a great believer in having a card that you write down what you want on it. And what he said was, if you write down a lie and you read it often enough, you're going to believe it. Now, I tried that. I wrote down a lie. It was what really was a lie about something that I wanted because it was something I didn't have. So it was a lie. I said, because I wrote it, as he suggested, in the present tense. Imagine that you already have it. See yourself already in possession of what you want. So I wrote down what I wanted. But no matter how many times I read it, I could never believe I had it because I didn't have it. It wasn't true. It was simply a lie. And I realized that one of the things that was going on in my mind, and that happens whenever you or me or anybody tries to believe something that isn't true, you're not actually changing your belief about it. You're just reinforcing the fact that it's not true. So if you write down, I have $1 million in the bank, for instance, when you write that down, what you're actually saying to yourself is, I have $1 million in the bank, but no, I don't really. I have $1 million in the bank. No, I don't really. So you're reinforcing the fact that you don't have it. And this is the problem. No matter how hard you try using all of these techniques, you can't get rid of the doubt. You can't believe with absolute certainty that what you want is what you're going to get. Isn't that true? I mean, think about something that you really want at the moment that you don't have. Maybe it's something you're working towards. How much are you certain that you're going to achieve that? And here's one way to know. Do you feel any stress, tension, frustration, worry, anxiety about whether you're going to achieve that goal? Because if you do, then you're not certain, are you? You're worried. You're unsure. You don't know if you're going to reach it. And that's what's making you feel stressed and afraid and worried. But how do you get rid of that stress, fear, and worry? You can't, can you? Because that's something that you want and you haven't got it yet, and you really want it, and you think it's going to make you happy. And how can you be happy until you get it? These are all the thoughts that are going on in your mind. You must have it. I must have it, you're saying to yourself. I will have it. I will do whatever it takes. And what's that doing? It's reinforcing all the doubt and uncertainty around whether you will actually get it. So you can never believe enough. You can never have enough faith. You can never remove the doubt enough to be certain that you're going to attract, that, in other words, that you're on the same frequency of attraction to get that thing that you want. And this is one of the fundamental flaws with the law of attraction. So what's the real problem? Why don't these things work? Why don't you know what you want? Why can't you see clearly what it is that you want? And why can't you remove all the doubt that you'll actually get it, if those are the key things that you need to have for the law of attraction to work? Well, it's not that there's anything wrong with you. It's not that you don't have enough information, that you're using the wrong technique to get rid of your doubt or to see more clearly, to be a better visualizer. It's none of those things. All it is you're not aware that you're using a part of your brain, a limited part of your brain, that will not only not help you get what you want, it will literally get in the way. It will literally block you from getting what you want or what you say you want. And this part of your brain is what I call your rational thinking brain. It's the part of your brain that stores all of your memories, your information, your thoughts, everything that you know, all of your experience, but it's very limited. It's only limited to that. And it's not designed for the purpose of showing you what you need to be your best in your life, and it's not designed with the purpose of showing you how to get it. That's a different part of your brain. And if you really think about it, all of these things that I've said, these limitations about getting what you want, knowing what you want, not being able to be clear enough about it, and still having doubt, what do they all have in common? The thing they all have in common is they're all things created by your thoughts. They're all things you're thinking about. That's what creates the uncertainty. That's what creates the doubt. And the idea of what you want comes from your thoughts. You've tried to figure it out. You've tried to decide and work it out and evaluate and come up with the answer to the question, yes, this is what I want and this is what I need to be happy. But you're using, in all of this, you're using your rational thinking brain, and it's not designed for that. So what's the answer? Well, you need to use the part of your brain that is designed for that knows exactly what you want. It knows it with certainty. There is no doubt. And it also knows what you need to do to achieve it. And this isn't a limited part of your brain. It's unlimited. And it's what I call your creative brain. And your creative brain is where your imagination, your creativity, your resourcefulness, your intuition, all your creative abilities, all of your problem-solving abilities, this is where they come from. In this part of your brain, this is what it's designed to do. It's designed to make you the best that you can be. It's designed to help you live your biological purpose of being the best that you can be. But it doesn't operate through force and struggle. Force and struggle, that's all your limited part of your brain. Now, there are lots of reasons why it doesn't operate through force and struggle, but one of them is struggle and force aren't natural. Now, the funny thing about when you use your creative brain, and when you're not relying on your thinking and trying to force things to happen, you're not trying to change your thoughts forcefully. You're not trying to change what you do forcefully. You're not living with all the stress and pressure that you're not good enough, that you need to do more, that you need to try and figure out something else to do, something more to do, something better to do. When you use this part of your brain, instead, your creative brain, all the good stuff happens. All the right things happen. Doesn't mean without effort on your part, but without struggle. And when you use this part of your brain, you're going to see good things start to show up in your life. And unexpected things, things that you haven't thought about, things that you haven't figured out. And they're the things that are going to shape your life in meaningful and profound ways, and in good ways. And you've probably realized this already. The most significant things that happen to you in your life are never the result of trying to force something to happen. So you meet somebody and you just know that they're the right person for you and that you're going to marry them. Or you're with somebody and you just know that that relationship is no longer right for you and it ends. Or you just know, I'm going to get that job, or this business deal is going to go through. And these things happen, not without effort on your part, but without the struggle, without the frustration, without all of the roadblocks being put in your path, all of the obstacles to prevent you from actually achieving that. You do achieve it. I remember many years ago, I had a part of one of my businesses that was really struggling. And I used to visualize this part of my business being really successful. I used to apply all of the law of attraction principles. I used to think positive. I had pictures of it. I had it all written down in great detail about how this part of the business was working. I used to meditate. I used to go into do hypnosis on myself, trying to change my beliefs and attract success to that part of the business. But that part of the business ultimately failed. It never worked. And I put myself through an enormous amount of stress and unnecessary effort and pain trying to make something work. Whereas if I just used a different part of my brain and realized that it was never going to work, no matter what I tried, I would have let it go and I would have been far better off. So when you use your creative brain, when you stop trying to force things to happen, what you're really doing is you're allowing this part of your brain to do its job without you interfering. You're allowing the right things to happen, and you're allowing yourself to take the right actions, which often means doing things that are new, things that you're unsure about, or that might even feel a bit uncomfortable to start with. So really the essence of why the law of attraction doesn't work is because it's based on fear, lack, and struggle. And all of these things, fear, lack, struggle, they're not only not natural, but they activate a part of your brain that's literally not designed or able to bring you the happiness and true success in your life. And that's why no matter what you do, no matter how hard you try to attract anything, you're going to stay stuck. You're not using the success machine, your brain, the right way. And it's a bit like any other machine. It's a bit like trying to drive your car, trying to move your car forward with the handbrake on and the wheels missing. You're using the machine the wrong way. It simply can't be done. You can't move forward if that's the situation. And it's exactly the same with your brain. So yes, there is validity in the idea that the thoughts you have an influence as to what shapes up in your life. The energy you feel, whether you're positive or you're negative, that's a factor as well. Of course these things are important, but you can't manufacture success through force. And this is really why so many of the techniques of the law of attraction, why they fall short. All you really need to do is understand who you really are. Understand how you really operate, how this machine really operates, this thing called your brain. And in particular, the role it plays in creating the results you get in your life. And most importantly, how this machine is designed to be used. And it only works the right way when you let yourself off the hook. This is Liam Naden signing off. Thanks for watching. But before you go, there's some action to take. Hit the subscribe and like buttons and leave your thoughts in a comment below. I'd love your feedback. And if you have friends who you think would benefit from this, please share it with them. Thanks again for your support, and stay tuned for more from me, Liam Naden. And remember, you can only reach your full potential when you let yourself off the hook.